So chapter 11 deals with detailing. And really this is where we start to talk about adding two-dimensional information to three-dimensional objects. What I mean by that is there's a lot of information that frankly does not need to be modeled. It could be modeled if you wanted to, but the likelihood is it only really needs to be shown in a two-dimensional way in a large-scale drawing. So what we're going to explore tonight is really how do we start to create those details. And for your semester project, I want you to create at least one large-scale detail. So you'll create a building section, or at least one building, well, two building sections, a wall section, and then a large detail from that wall section. You can create multiple details if you like, but really what I want the semester project to illustrate is that you understand how to use the tools that we've been working with this semester. Obviously, if you do 50 details, that will strengthen your skills, but it would also take a tremendous amount of time. So a minimum one detail. So let's get into chapter 11. Working with line weights. When you understand Revit, you find out immediately that the real hurdle is getting it to work lies in detailing. Sure, you can cut sections and create callouts, but how do you add that fine level of detailing needed to produce a set of documents that you're willing to stamp and sign? This chapter addresses the issues surrounding the detailing. The first thing that comes to mind when dealing with CAD standards is line weights, right? In AutoCAD, it's layers, in MicroStation, it's levels, but on paper, it's line weights. They control 75% of a company's standards. And you'll learn in this chapter, Revit can be a good 2D drafting application as well. As you learn how to control line weights in the 3D element, you can also control line weights line by line. To begin, open the file you've been using, or we downloaded it from the internet, so we're all starting at the same place. In the project browser, open the building section called Roof Taper Section. So we'll do that by navigating over here to the project browser. And we'll come down to Sections. Roof Taper Section. It'll look something like this. Click off the thin lines and you notice that the perimeter of the walls and the roof are extremely heavy in contrast. So right now we have the thin lines tool activated. If we click off of that, these lines are very thick, right? Put it back to thin line. We would call those cut lines or profile lines. But it makes the drawing read differently, right? So if I have it all at thin lines, this drawing looks very flat. We can only speculate what we're actually cutting through. I turn thin lines off. It's very clear where I'm cutting that section at because the perimeter of the section is got a heavier line. Alright, in the Object Styles dialog box is a list of every object category available in Revit. The first item you want to change, oh sorry, I skipped something here. Click off thin lines and notice the perimeters of the walls and roof are extremely heavy in contrast to the finer lines that divide the submaterials. This is what you'll change. On the Settings panel of the Manage tab, click the Object Styles button on the left of the ribbon. So this is a new tool we haven't played with yet. So we'll go to Manage, Settings, and we want to go to Object Styles. Yeah. You can also click here and go into it, but we'll go right here. And you may have seen this when we were doing some stuff with families, not related to the book. So this is your object styles, and this basically controls how things are visually represented. Item 3. In the Object Styles dialog box is a list of every object category available in Revit. The first items you want to change are the roofs. In that category column, scroll down until you see roofs as shown in Figure 11.1. So these are alphabetically organized. We're going to come down to roofs and expand it. And you can kind of see these are all the components of a typical roof as Revit understands it. Glancing up at the headers that describe the columns, you'll see the line weight column. So we have line weight, line color, line pattern, material, etc. This column is divided into two sections, projection and cut. See, projection and cut. The projection column controls the line weights of objects as they're viewed in plan or elevation. The cut column controls the line weights as they're shown in section. So to reiterate, projection means plan and elevation, and cut means section. Your objective is to modify the line weights for both the cut and projection of the roof. Item 4, in the roofs row, change the cut value to 3. So right now we have a cut value of 5. If we change that to 3, what do you think will happen? I'll just zoom out and click OK here. What happened? Those lines got thinner, right? So the higher the number, the thicker the line. So we went from a 5 to a 3. This would be a 5 right here. And that's now a 3. So I'll go back into object styles. And we'll go back down to roofs. And we've changed that value. Now if I change that just to illustrate, I want that to be a 10. What happened? It got super thick. Now, there may be times when I want a line that thick. Typically not, but line weights are really controlled about the contrast between two lines. So if every line was 5 and then I make a line of 10, it's not going to look as thick as if every line's a 1 and I make one line of 10. So let's again go back and change that to a 3. You can also see that we have line color. I could come in here and say, ooh, we'll make it blue. Oh no, it didn't do it. Come on, make it blue. Okay, and then it shows up as blue. Now, those of you that have used AutoCAD or other drafting programs, colors were associated with line weights. So, for example, yellow was normally a really thin line weight in AutoCAD, where magenta was a very thick line weight. It doesn't work that way in Revit. What you see on your screen is the way it will print. So if you see a blue line on your screen, what would you expect in your print?
Blue.
A blue line. If you see a thick line in Revit, you would expect there to be a thick line when you print that. So don't go in there and change the colors and think that you're changing the line weight if you happen to be a recovering AutoCAD user. So we're going to go back and change that from blue, obviously, to black. But that also means if you're doing something where you need a red line or a blue line, can you create it? Yeah, you can create it through an object style. All right. Back into the book. Item 5, click the plus sign next to roofs to expand the category. We've done that. All of the sub-elements are shown and you can control line weights accordingly. Change the cut value of fascias to 5. Well, it's already a 5. Change the cut value for gutters to 5. It's already a 5. Change the cut value for roof soffits to 5. It's already a 5. We're going to get through this chapter quickly. Find floors and change cut lines weight to 3. Okay, so that's probably up here at floors. And it's at 5, so we want to change that to a 3. And you can either type that in or you can use the drop-down menu. Find walls and change the cut line weight to 3. Okay, so alphabetically that should be down here somewhere. Change that to 3. Click OK and you'll see the change to your outline. Alright, so that got thinner. It looks more balanced now. So is that it? Are we done with detailing? Obviously not. We have a lot still left to go, right? Drafting on top of the detail. As mentioned, Revit provides a good number of 2D details that you can insert at any time. When Revit doesn't have the component you need, you can always create one. It isn't that hard to do. In this section, you'll physically create a detail. The procedures you'll apply consist of adding detail components, line work, and filled regions, and doing some good old-fashioned drafting. Using predefined detail components. The first procedure focuses on inserting predefined detail components. The great thing about this is you'll do nothing you haven't done repeatedly throughout this book. It's just a matter of finding the right buttons to get started. Make sure you're still in the detail called roof taper section, which we are. Item 2, on the detail panel of the Annotate tab, click Component, Detail Component, and then click Load Family. If we go to Annotate, Detail, Detail Component, or really Detail Group. Oh no, I'm sorry, Component. Load Family. And we're going to load a family just like we load a family for anything else that we're working on. And they want us to browse to the Detail Items directory and open Division 1 General Folder. Alright, so these detail components are organized by CSI division. Does anybody know what CSI division is? Alright. CSI division, or master format rather, is an industry standard for organizing construction. So Division 4, for example, deals with masonry construction. So things that are associated with masonry you would expect to find under Division 4. This is used not only just to organize Revit details, but it's used to organize project specifications, keynotes. It's really an organizational filing type system that's very prevalent within the construction industry. So you should get familiar with these divisions and what's in each division. And you will basically just by default of using this a lot. So the first thing we're going to load is in Division 1, and it's the brake line. Since it's the only thing in Division 1, it's not that hard to find. Alright. So it's going to ask us to open the file. In the type selector of the properties dialog, be sure brake line is selected. It is. Press the spacebar twice. This flips the brake line into the correct orientation. Pick a point similar to the one shown in figure 11.3. So we want to break this down here. And what a brake line does is basically indicate with this window. It doesn't want to play nice with me. Come on. It signifies that the stuff below that line is just like the stuff right above it for an undetermined amount of time. So it's very common to see a brake line in a detail. All right. Everybody good with that idea? All right, the next thing we're going to do is add a masking region. Masking regions. To let you hide portions of the detail, Revit has added a nice feature called a masking region. Instead of wrestling with items over which you ultimately have little or no control, you can hide these items to make way for your detailing. To learn how to apply a masking region, follow these steps. Item 1, make sure you're still in the detail called roof tapered section, which we are. We haven't gone anywhere. Item 2, on the Draw panel of the Annotate tab, click Region, Masking Region, as shown in figure 11.4. So we're going to go to Annotate. We're going to come to Region. And there's two types of regions. There's a region that gets filled with a pattern, and there's a region that basically blocks things out. So we're going to select a masking region. And it's going to take us into essentially sketch mode. We're all familiar with sketch mode at this point. And we're basically going to draw a rectangle around some of this stuff and hide it because we don't like the way it shows right now. And that's a very simple procedure. We're going to say I want to do a rectangle, and I want that rectangle to come from there to there. That looks good. We're going to hit OK. And you'll notice what happened is it looks like the stuff went away, but did the stuff really go away? I want to show you that it didn't. I'm going to take this region and I'm going to drag it to there. The stuff's still back there. I've just drawn essentially a white rectangle over it. So it will let me add two-dimensional information on top of that wall section. Okay, so your detail should look like figure 11.7. And it almost does. We're going to take this, we're going to drag it out just a little bit. And we're going to take this masking region and let's drag that back. No, we're good with it. We're good with it like that. Yeah, we're good with it like that for the moment. Alright. Repeating details. Revit has a technique that allows you to add a detail component as a group. You do this basically by drawing a line, and Revit then adds the detail in any array based on the points you pick. To learn how to add a repeating detail, follow this procedure. Item 1 on the Detail panel, the Annotate tab, select Component, Repeating Detail Component. Component. Repeating Detail Component. In the Properties dialog, choose the Repeating Detail brick from the Type selector. It's already selected by default. Pick the point labeled 1 in figure 11.91. I'm just hitting the space bar to tab this back and forth. And what do you see happening? So I drag this line out, it's going to continue to draw that brick. So I didn't have to go in and draw each individual piece. It's smart enough to know that the brick should be spaced X amount apart. After you pick the first point, move your cursor down in the view. The brick is facing the wrong side. Press the spacebar to flip the brick into the wall. Pick the end point 8 inches down as shown in figure 11.9 so that the 3 copies of the brick are in place. Alright, so I only want to go 8 inches. I can probably just type 8 inches in here. And there you go. Now I have 3 nice repeating bricks that I didn't have to draw all those pieces to. I could just draw a line and it basically filled it in for me. Let's keep going with the repeating detail. The problem you're facing is that you need to deal with the soldier course in the exterior wall. You can add that in a moment. Right now, complete the brick down past the break line. If you feel as though you're getting the hang of adding the repeating brick detail, go ahead and add the second repeating detail. If you want some more instruction, follow these steps. Click the component Repeat Detail Component button on the Detail panel on the Annotate tab. So again, we go up here and grab a repeating detail. It's brick. Pick point 1 is shown in figure 11.1. Alright, so that's coming from right here. Hit tab to get it on the right side, and we just want to draw that down there. Okay, so we got a problem here, right? This break line should really be masking that last brick. Do you agree? Yes. We can click on this, and we can arrange it and tell it, bring this to the front. And when you do that, it will hide the brick. I could also say, hey, take this and send it to the back. And what you're going to find is now the brick is shown. So it's very easy to arrange these. And think of them as pieces of paper that you're putting in front of one another. By bringing this to the front, I've told it to block that out. All right. So now our detail should look like figure 11.12. Item 6 is the repeating detail is obscuring the break line. So select the break line on the Arrange panel, click the Bring to Front button. We've done that. The next step is to add the soldier course. You'll do this the same way you added the break line. In this respect, Revit offers a good library broken down into the CSI format. To add the soldier course, follow these steps. On the Detail panel on the Annotate tab, click the Component Detail Component button. So we're going to just go back to a regular component. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to load a family. No, it says it should be in the type selector. There we go. We have standard brick already loaded. So we will, in the type selector in the properties dialog box, select the brick, standard, soldier, and plan. Great. And you can see that we now have an individual brick that we can add into our detail. So we'll go ahead and add that. Now our detail's looking pretty close to their detail. We're not quite done yet. We still have some stuff we need to add. Well, the soldier course is in place, but that fat line weight is hideous. It would be nice. It would be nice if everything came out of the Revit box looking nice and met your specifications, but alas, this isn't the case. Let's modify this component to make it presentable. Modifying a detail component. Right about now is when every CAD BIM manager around the globe raises an eyebrow for good reason. Revit allows you to modify a component by actually opening the file. But don't worry, you have to issue a save as command to save the detail. The objective of the following procedure are to create a texture on the brick detail and to use a line weight the user can control in the model. If you still have a command running, click the modify button on the left ribbon or press the escape key. I'll just hit modify. Select the bricks, standard, soldier, and plan family that you just placed. And basically what you want to do is next you want to go down the modify detail items tab, click the edit family button. And it's going to open up the brick. And you're like, well, hold on. That doesn't look like the brick that I just clicked on. Go over here to views. It's not under views. Oh, we'll get there. Let's just follow the book for this part so I don't lose any of you. Modifying the filled regions. A filled region is similar to a masking region in that you apply both in the same manner. A filled region, however, contains a hatch pattern that is visible when the region is completed. This is how you hatch in Revit. It takes the place of the conventional hatch command found in AutoCAD and MicroStation. The goal of the next procedure is only to modify the filled region that makes up the brick. You'll also use the regions outlined to define the perimeter and the texture of the brick. Click the Revit application button and select Save As Family. Okay, so we'll come up here, Save As Family. We're going to save this somewhere where we can get to it. And they want us to save this as, call the new family Brick-Soldier. Click the Family Types button shown in Figure 11.15. Okay, so this basically controls the different, well, we'll see as we edit it. That's the best way. In the name menu, make sure running section is selected. Click the delete button at the right in the dialog box. Because we're not going to need a running section. This is going to be only a soldier and plan view that we're going to use for this detail. Item 6. Select row lock from the list and delete this type as well. Alright. Row lock, delete. Click OK. And what happened? This changed, right? It's not that this changed. It's that the first 2D drawing that we had up was the running section. And we deleted that type. So it showed the type that was selected in the family types at that moment. Select the line that is hovering over the top of the brick and mirror it to the bottom of the brick. Alright, so this line here represents some mortar. We're going to mirror it. Oh, and I'm going to have to mirror it by drawing an axis. I'm going to do that by snapping here. And now I have a mortar on both sides of this brick. Item 9. Select one of the heavy lines that form the outline of the brick. When we do that, it's going to indicate that this is a filled region. On the Mode panel of the Modify Detail item, click the Edit Boundary button. Okay, so now we're kind of in sketch mode, right? We're editing the boundary of a region. Item 11. Delete the two thick vertical lines. Item 12. On the Draw panel, select the Line button. Item 13. In the Line Style panel that appears, select Detail items. It's already there. Draw a series of jagged lines on the right and left of the brick as shown in figure 11.17. It's important that you make sure it snaps to the endpoint here. But then basically you're just drawing a series of lines, and this can be kind of random. And you can do the same thing over here. Now, if you really don't care about this, you can just mirror the line you drew on the other side. But we want this to have a little bit of character, so. Alright. So we end up with something that looks kind of like that. After you finish sketching the texture, click the Edit Type. Change the background from opaque to transparent as shown in figure 11.18. Okay. Click OK. Click the Finish Edit mode. Your brick should resemble figure 11.19. Alright. Next, you'll add a mortar joint to the bottom of the brick. You simply add drafting lines. On the Create tab, click the Line button. Come over here to Create. Line button. And we're just going to grab here and you'll have a little bit of a curve to it. Draw two arcs to the left and right of the top of the brick as shown in figure 11.20. And really what I'm going to do is take this one and just mirror it. You want to be careful about mirroring something like this, though. You just want to come back in and check and make sure it's at the appropriate line. Alright, the next step is to add shading underneath the brick pattern. To do this, you'll create an entirely new filled region and add it to the brick by tracing over the existing filled region. On the Detail panel of the Create tab, click the Filled Region button as shown in figure 11.21. Alright, so we're going to create Detail Filled Region. In the Properties dialog, click the Edit Type button and make sure Type is Solid Filled. Type Solid filled. Okay. Click duplicate. Call the new region light shade. Click OK. Oh, I went one too many. But that's okay. We can get back in here. In the fill pattern row, click into the solid fill drafting field. Click the ... button in the right corner. Cancel that. It's this button right there. There you go. You can select any hatch pattern you want. Make sure solid filled is selected. Solid's fine. In the color row is a button labeled black. It includes a little black box icon. Pick the black box. In the color dialog box, click the gray tile as shown in figure 11.24. The color is actually RGB 192, 192, 192. You can see that right here. Click OK twice. On the draw panel, click the Pick Lines button as shown in figure 11.25. Hover your cursor over one of the jagged lines on the brick face and press the Tab key. It should select all of them that are connected. Pretty easy way to trace, right? On the mode panel, click the Finish Edit mode. And that looks horrible, right? What do you think we need to do? Yeah. And send that gray to the back. And that actually looks pretty good. And filled regions, whether they're inside a component like this or they're inside Revit, all kind of work the same way. So it's very easy to add shading to your drawings. So that gets us up through item 18. Click the Save icon or hit Control S. Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. That's easy though. Let me just copy. There you go. Alright, now I got mortar on top of them. Alright. On the Family Editor panel on the Create tab, click the Load into Project button. So if we go back to our section that we were working on, roof tapered section, and we go to annotate, component, our new component is there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to place this one here just for a moment. I'm going to take that one and I'm going to delete it and put this one in its place. Alright, before you modify the bricks, let's explore how a repeating detail is created. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part. The next group of procedures focuses on editing the bricks used in the repeating detail. You certainly want the same face texture, and it would be nice if there was a mortar joint between them. Before you modify the bricks, let's explore how a repeating detail is created. The objective of the next procedure is to discover how a repeating detail works and how you can create a new one. Make sure you're in the detail called Roof Taper section, which we are. Select one of the repeating details as shown in figure 11.13. In the Properties dialog, click the Edit Type as shown in figure to the left of 11.30. Click into the Detail Value list. Every detail component listed in your model is available. The detail component being used here is Brick Standard Running Section. It is. You can change the spacing and the pattern of how the repeating detail will perform. Click Cancel. So basically, I'm going to change something here just so you guys can see it. I'm going to change it to something absurd like wide section and hit OK. And what happened? I took that detail and it repeated it multiple times, right? Obviously, it doesn't make any sense. But basically what a repeating detail is doing is taking the same two-dimensional drawing and repeating it over and over and over and over at a set spacing, and that spacing's right here. So if we said we want this to be 4 inches instead of 2 and whatever it was, and we hit OK, then our bricks would be spaced 4 inches apart, which doesn't necessarily work for what we want to do. But it means if we want to change this, really all we got to do is change one drawing, and it will change everything. Alright, item 1. On the Detail panel of the Annotate tab, click the Component Detail button. So we're going to hit Cancel. We're going to get out of this. We're going to go to Annotate, Component Detail. Don't worry about that right now. In the Type selector in the Properties dialog, pick the Brick Standard Running Section. Brick Standard Running Section. Remember, this was the component you discovered the repeating detail was using. Place the detail component off to the side of the wall, as shown in figure 11.31. Press the Escape key twice or hit Modify. Select the Brick Standard Running Section you just inserted. Hit Edit Family. There's another way to invoke Edit Family also, instead of clicking here. If you double click, it will think that you want to edit your family and automatically open it up. Select the filled region. Okay, so we know that that's this. On the Mode panel, click the Edit Boundary. Delete the right and left thick lines. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, we just did this in the other detail, right? On the Draw panel, click the Line button. In the Type selector, click Detail Lines. So Line, Type selector, Detail Items. Draw the jagged lines on both sides as shown in figure 11.32. Alright. When you're finished, hold on. Skipped a couple steps. Click the Finish Edit Mode on the Mode panel. On the Create tab, click the Line button. On the Draw panel, click the Start in Radius Arc button. And we're only going to do the top of this because as the next one goes below it, it will have the grout line in it. So we've drawn arcs on both sides. When you're finished, save the new brick standard. You can also find this brick on the book's webpage. It's called brickstandard.rfa. On the family editor, click load into project. Let's make sure we've saved it. It's going to make us save it somewhere. This is fine. Load into project. Okay, so when you've modified something that's already in your file and you go to reload it, it's going to ask you, do you want to overwrite the existing version? For what we're doing right now, we absolutely want to overwrite it. So what happened? All my bricks have that little jaggedness in them, right? Now, I'll delete that one. This isn't exactly perfect. I could go in and I could modify this if I wanted it to look a certain way. But I'm adding a whole bunch of detail in here. Like I'm telling the contractor, this brick has a texture to it. Do I want to model that texture in 3D? No. It would create, your model would be insanely large, right? Because there'd be a lot of points and a lot of faces. So you don't want to necessarily do that. But this is a good way to add that detail. Or for example, add that this is a regular running bond and this is a soldier course. It's a good way to do that.
So do you take that thick line out then?
Yeah, that line is actually, this line here,
Yeah.
that's part of the properties of the, here, I gotta select it first before I can do anything with it. Filter. Come on. Give me just, I don't want that. Right. So, if I'm having a tough time selecting something, just like a wall or a ceiling, I can click on this. I can come in here to the sunglasses and tell it, hide that element, so it's out of the way. Then I can click here. So this is a masking region, right? That masking region has a black line around it right now. So if I drug this all the way out, you would see that there's still a black line here, right? We can change the properties of that masking region. And we can do that under anti-region, masking region. When we create the masking region, see this line style right here? It says thin lines. If I tell it that I want it to be invisible lines, and I draw that masking region, do it with a rectangle. And I hit OK. What you're going to notice is that boundary around that masking region is not there. It makes it hard to... and we can start to send this back. There we go. So now I don't have that line that I had before. But I've actually clicked it at the wrong place, so this actually needs to come. And then I can come back down to the sunglasses and say reset temporary hide. And there we go. There's my brick without the line. So almost everything in Revit is infinitely adjustable. All right, where were we in the book? Next, you'll anchor this facade back to the wall. You need to add two things: a structural relief angle above the soldier course and a brick tie back to a lower course. Follow these steps. On the Annotate tab, click the Component Detail Component button. On the Mode panel, click the Load Family button. On the Open Detail Items folder, select Division 5 metals. Select 051200 structural steel framing. Double-click the File AIS Angle Shapes section. Just like when we loaded columns, there's a lot of different shapes, so it's going to ask us what shape we want. We want an L6 by 4 by 5/16. We're going to hit spacebar until this is in the direction we want it to be. Place it in the model shown in figure 11.34. It just doesn't want to rotate the way we want it to rotate, so I'm going to place this. And then you can see this has flippers, much like a door has flippers. And I can flip it to the right orientation. And then I'm going to place it, and I'm going to use the Align tool to place this by just saying, hey, I want it to align there. Well, didn't want to cooperate with me, so the Move tool will work also. Let's try Align here. And see if Align just doesn't want to work with that detail component. No big deal. Okay. And basically, this is there structurally to hold the weight of the courses above the cylinder course. Pretty common in masonry construction. Press Escape twice or click Modify. Of course, the line weight is basically a blob, so you must modify the family in order for it to look accurate. The next procedure is almost a review of what you had to do to the bricks. Select the angle. I'm just going to double click on it to open it up. In the family editor, select the filled region and click the edit boundary on the Modify tab. Select all the lines that form the perimeter of the angle. And we're going to change this from heavy line to detail items. So we're essentially changing the line weight. And we're going to finish this. And you'll see that that changed the line weight there. We're going to load it into the project. And it's going to ask us, do we want to overwrite it? And we're going to say, yes, do that. And doesn't that look much nicer? And now I can use a line because I can actually select the lines. And that looks much more appropriate. It doesn't look just like a big black line. The next step is to find a fastener to anchor the angle back to the wall's substrate. There's a problem, however. The type of bolt you'll need is a lag bolt that is power driven from the exterior of the wall. Revit doesn't provide one out of the box. Luckily, the book you bought does. To find the lag bolt provided with the book, go to the book's webpage, browse the Chapter 11 folder, and find the file A307 lagboltside.raf. Okay, we saved that earlier when we downloaded the file, so we're going to do annotate, component, load family. But this time we're going to navigate to where we saved our Chapter 11. Oh. And he lied to us. He didn't give us our bolt pattern. Oh, that's very nice of him. Let's see what we can find in the standard families. Detail items, wood and plastic, common fasteners, lag screw. Alright, so we can load the lag screw side, which is basically the same thing. Open that. Now, would it make a whole lot of sense to model this lag bolt in 3 dimensions? And then put it in my wall type? The answer would be no, right? That would be a whole lot of information I really don't need. I need it for this detail. That's the only place I do need it. So if I look at these lines, do we like the thickness of them? Or are they a little dark? They're a little dark, and this is kind of hard to read. So something I might do, it's not in the book. Let's edit this family. We can select all these lines. And it says light lines. Take it to detail, that would make it even a little lighter. And then if I wanted this to look a little bit different, maybe I got nothing but time on my hands, I could come in here and say, hey, connect these 2 things. And is this necessary? Yeah, this is totally not necessary. But I want to show you that it's possible you could do something like this. I don't know why you would. Maybe you get to the end of the bolt and you're like, oh, that's hideous. I don't really like the way that shows up. So I'm just going to trim those things and clean this up here at the end. So what you do when you have nothing better to do on Friday night, right? You could say, hey, I want that to actually show up gray, the shaft of that bolt. So maybe we come in here and we create a filled region. I'm going to pick some lines here. Maybe if I hover over that and hit tab, see what that does. Alright, so that's kind of the region. And I'm going to come in here and say edit type, duplicate. Okay. Make that color like this gray, but I want it to be even lighter. Okay, and I want that to be transparent. Perfect. Okay. Continue. I got 2 lines on top of each other. No big deal. Delete one of them. Okay. Oh, what happened? That's actually not too bad, but that's not really what I wanted, right? Filled region. Edit type. My fill pattern, I still need to make it solid. Alright. So that looks a little bit better, right? Would you agree? Now I could load that into the project. Alright. So, I didn't need to do that, but if I had the extra time and I wanted it to pop or read better, I could do that. And add that information.